Oh fuck, it's recording. Alright, so I literally have not slept in 24 hours. I'm working on a secret surprise that involves shaders, or at least I think I am. I'm kind of at the point of delirium now. So you can see my epic progress. The shaders are all reached. It's a work in progress.
Get it working, then refine it.
All the softwares out there. You're looking fresh and sweet. And I've got that morning urge. I tried to code a simple like flashlight kind of deal using what the fuck am I trying to say? Using directional light. So in the engine we can take a spotlight, specify its position in 3D space, specify the direction it's pointing, and then specify the angle of incidence. So we should be able to have like our characters hold a flashlight, and it will actually work correctly in 3D with objects that are elevated like trees and stuff. Jesus. Problem is that I have completely fucked up the scalar values for this. There's an exponent factor here. I still don't know exactly like what units these things are in or how to scale them to fit our engine where Z coordinates aren't all that big. So that is Julian's flashlight. What do you think? Flashlight. It devours everything.
Yeah, I think we need to redo our elevation as soon as possible.
Well, yeah, we got to fix the elevation for the buildings, and in our game, one Z coordinate is basically the equivalent of 32 tiles up. So there's a disproportionate scaling for the ratio of the Z plane to the XY plane, so that there's additional like attenuation factors. I got to be sending the shaders and shit like that. And also, like I said, this is still per vertex lighting, so
yeah,
it has
it's not
some
per pixel
inaccuracies that will be on the Dreamcast and shittier hardware, but not the other ones.
So I need a flashlight like him. Jesus.
We can have like the sun like eclipse the whole map or some shit like that. Dude, you were talking about doing spell effects.
Yeah, spell effects are going to be incredible.
Or something that we'll be able to do that.
Oh yes, oh yes.
So yeah, it'll look pristine. All right, man. Explain to YouTube what you just explained to me.
So
hold on, he's got this shit written on the wall. That's exactly what he's doing.
Working on an A-star pathfinding algorithm for yes.
Because we don't want our NPCs to be dipshits.
Yeah, or like Secret of Mana, they just jump around.
Yeah, I know. Like, we held Secret of Mana in such high esteem, and then we go back and play it, and we're like, that's not even AI, dude. That's just like,
it's like,
if less than this, walk in this general direction.
So
every
formula that I've found for A-star is always looked at everything like a giant 1D array, and we're trying to work with it to allow for like pathfinding through elevation and everything that we have set up.
Right, our map is multi-dimensional.
And attempting to implement this, ran the script. Apparently, the shortest distance between A and B is in fact a straight line.
Jesus, I had no idea.
It's getting there.
No, it's a start. I mean, it's right. What am I seeing on the adventure log?
This is
Some
actually
bit
showing
shifts?
step by step, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's each value on the map is assigned 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like in a 1D array instead of doing like X, Y coordinates.
Okay.
And it's actually showing you the steps you would take through what.
Oh, and you're dynamically modifying the terrain to
at one time
visualize it
to show like where it's going through this path here.
Right. Well, that's freaking awesome, man.
All right, I'm gonna need you to show the fans what you just showed me.
Alright, so I'm working on the new lighting engine, and I have implemented directional and positional lights, and for positional lights I just finished point lights and spotlights. And these are affected by, I implemented ambient, diffuse, and specular lighting, but I'm a dumbass because it turns out specular lighting in a fixed camera game is ambient lighting. So that's less math we have to do, but okay. So I have a demo scene with low ambience, and that is a spotlight applied to Julian. So it actually does. In ES, we are storing the map data with elevation in 3D, so these lights are actually accurate in 3D. They affect the objects as though they're in 3D. The reason this is darker on top is because we haven't elevated things correctly in the toolkit, but this tree over here is actually correct as though it's in 3D. So that's a spotlight, and these assholes are point lights. They're just emanating in all directions, and like I said, we need to fix the elevation on these houses so they'll be correct. So, and they mix together correctly with the blending.
There's no lagging, zooming in or
No,
out,
there's
rotating.
none. Oh, and you can see a little bit of inaccuracy here. I implemented that right now in the vertex shader, so it's per vertex lighting. I'm doing this. It looks better when it's a bigger light. There's less inaccuracy. I'm doing this so that, one, when we release the game, I'll have it vertex shaded or per pixel shaded, depending on your specs. And two, I realized while I was doing this that I can actually implement everything you're seeing there on the Dreamcast. I'm going to do all the per vertex lighting on here. And it will probably literally rape it, and we probably won't be able to zoom out as far anymore, but I'm going to do it. I'm so fucking excited.
Absolutely.
So at the same time, Tyler had the idea that if I keep the per vertex shaders in for like the iPhone, shitty droids, and like shitty iPads and stuff, and the Dreamcast, when we invoke the engine and the toolkit, we'll be able to specify whether we want to use per vertex or per pixel lighting while we're debugging, so we can actually see what the scene will look like on the Dreamcast or one of the other consoles while we're lighting scenes on the PC.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, it'd be fucking epic, man.
Hell yeah. So apparently an even shorter distance between 2 points isn't a straight line, but a wormhole.
Jesus. What even happened, dude?
Not really sure, but it looks like it's beginning back at the 1515 and tracing it back to the angel through the columns instead of the original start point.
That's what the pathfinding is going to do in our game.
So, I mean, it got there.
It just warped.
It's fine. Well, that's not a bug, it's a feature.
Yeah, agreed, agreed.
We'll have some enemies that can hold it. I heard you got some progress to show us.
Alright, so like I was saying, our elevation for most of Loren is screwed up with, based on how it needs to be now. We did it with something else in mind. So I went back through Loren and I elevated properly just this portion of it to test the lighting engine. And basically what I've done is I'm processing everything in 3D space now. Everything without elevation has a normal facing up. Everything with elevation is assumed to be like a pop-up, and it has a normal facing the camera, so that everything is lit in 3D space. And the effect is actually absolutely sexy, if I do say so myself.
Fucking
arouse, invoke the engine. Oh, I will arouse you. Okay. So like I said, this crap is all screwed up, this portion of Loren, but I did elevate this portion correctly. So check out the lighting effect, like right here. Like for example, look at this pole. The angle of the light is like this. That's what the light's doing. The pole is right here, so the bottom of the pole is receiving the majority of the light there.
Yeah.
And you can also see the bush here and the tree here, which are elevated, so they're in three-dimensional space, are receiving more of the light at their angle than the grass right here underneath it. And the same goes for the entirety of the museum right
like
here.
the whole museum front.
So watch when I increment the player's elevation just to move him higher, you can see the effect. See?
Yeah, it's moving
the
up the
angle
pole.
of the light, or the angle itself. Yeah.
Yeah, while the bottom of it's getting darker.
Right. Let me zoom out so you can see. I'm getting higher. That's the light moving as I screw with the
going
elevation.
all the way up to 16.
Yeah. So the elevation is also a
God.
factor in it. So it's a truly 3D
That
now, dude.
is
Like
so
it is
sexy.
3D engine. I just wanted to take a second and tell you guys how fucking beautiful C++11 is. I don't know if you guys knew or not, but I am abusing the shit out of C++11 in the engine and the toolkit. It's even compiling on the Dreamcast. It's beautiful. So this light source right here, let me see if I can go up to the class itself. This light source inherits its multiple inherited class, if I can find it right here. Inherits from a component and a light source, and that it's privately inheriting from a light source, which is just a simple C structure inherited from libgyro, so it's not actually a class. But as you can see in this C++11 constructor here, light source, I'm able to, in the initializer list, initialize the parent component with entity, and also initialize the privately inherited gyro light source object with an initializer list in the constructor. Tell me that's not beautiful. Well, I mean, it's hideous, but it's amazing. I fucking love C++11.
Fucking C++11.
It's beautiful.
So,
Drinking out of my goddamn mug.
I've made progress. The pathfinding algorithm is now navigating around the solid.
Oh, it is.
However, it's not really sure.
It's
what
not
the
doing
fuck
a
to
good
do
job,
with the
but
solid.
I mean, it did make it to the destination, right? That's the angel,
for some
right?
reason It's bouncing back around this way. I'm not really sure why.
Well, still, I mean, it made it around.
Um,
It's better than Secret of Mana can claim.
Most A-star pathfinding algorithms don't actually account for diagonals either. Like, they just do not support that, like using
Right.
the whole Manhattan method or whatever.
Right. Are we supporting it? 'Cause-
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. Of course, of course.
And like usually when that happens, like it does do some fucking reasty shit like this. So we got some more research to do.
All right. Well.
What the hell you got going on over here?
So, finished up the lighting that was per vertex, and I'm doing per pixel lighting now, so you can see there's no artifacts or anything. This is like 100% pixel accurate. I'm just dicking around with different lights per pixel. It looks really good. It's a lot more expensive to do it per pixel, but it looks fucking awesome.
Yeah, it does.
I might make it where, like, in the engine we can decide, like, how important certain lights are, so it'll determine whether we use a per pixel or per vertex shader.
Yeah.
So we could have, like, a shitload, and, like, if they're not that big of a deal, they can use the per vertex.
Definitely.
And then the really important ones can do per pixel. Alright.
So I have my A-star pathfinding algorithm complete. It works as far as like editing the map, showing me what path I'm going to be taking. It returns an array of waypoints or nodes, which is the center of the tiles that you'll see changed. Trying to move the entity along them, apparently I have some sort of fucking vector math fucked up somewhere. So observe.
Cuts right across. Well, he follows the path in the end.
Jeez. I mean, yes. Not really sure. I need to work on that.
Alright, so
What you got for us?
I'm working on changing, basically I'm changing all of the depth buffer shit to three-dimensional.
Mm-hmm.
So we have Loren, and we have elevated tiles like this,
Okay.
where you can see that these are at a higher elevation, so that when the player is at this location, he'll be rendered behind that, whereas if he's down here, he's rendered in front of that.
Yes.
That's what gives our map depth, and I'm trying to make the lighting engine also honor that depth. So in order to do that, basically ES is becoming a 3D game. I'm doing all of the lighting calculations in 3D world space.
Yeah, true 3D.
So,
So those are like polys that we're seeing right here?
yeah, I mean, it's all polys. They're all quads.
Oh, I see.
So if you could rotate the camera around any other axis besides the Z, you would basically see a billboard 3D game like Mario Kart. But the only problem is I've currently fucked it up.
Well.
So I'm trying to add depth to based on your height is your Z coordinates. So let it compile and you can see what I've done.
Quite a bit of code.
Oh, yeah.
Just a little.
It's only what we've been working on this entire Christmas break.
Jesus.
Well, he's been working on that. I've been working on that shit.
Oh, I see.
It takes a year to compile because I modified shared code with the engine and toolkit, so it's building a toolkit.
That's a lot of dedication, though.
That's what we do.
Haven't been slacking off for sure, like what everyone's bitching about in the comments.
Or I need to speed this part up. Okay.
I'll let you edit this out.
We have Daddy Longlegs entities.
What the fuck have you done?
I gave his legs depth. What? With the wrong fucking perspective, apparently.
Ooh,
Jesus.
Honestly, I don't know what I did, but it's recent.
How'd you fuck that up?
Jesus.
Bad linear algebra. Alright, I'm genuinely impressed by what I just saw.
It has been a long night, but
I know I feel like shit.
So, we have the angel here.
Alright, let me zoom in.
Let me enable.
Alright, so tell them what you told me about the controls on this bitch.
Walk around, and pressing V is going to send a message via the state machine message handler to tell the angel to grab its position, my position, and find a path between the two and walk it. Once it gets there, it goes back to idle, and I can press V and do it again.
Right.
So I can just keep doing it.
So, real quick, there's no actual, like, good way to say it to move to a certain location within the engine and have it linearly interpolate. So he's having it move kind of cheesily, so it looks a little fucked up.
Yeah, she does look like a ballerina at some points, but that's just...
It's a test of the AI logic. Boom, bitch found you. Alright, keep going. Look at that. She's doing a dance, but that bitch is smart. Way. Really? It worked perfectly 10 times when I saw it.
Yeah. Oh, I know what that was then.
Alright.
Because apparently, like, you can't be, like, colliding with it when you do that, because it tries to put you inside the ball, and that's not a walkable fucking path, so...
Yeah. Jesus, dude.
And it does do that.
That is awesome.
Slightly off, but it's also caching paths that it knows, so it'll go back along a path that it's already done before.
Right.
Because it knows the values of it. So.
Well. Alright, let's make that bitch a maze.
Exactly.
Alright, I am so fucking excited. I've been working on these dynamic shadows for literally days, making almost no goddamn progress. I've been depressed as shit, honestly. I've been fucking moping around like, oh, I don't want to fucking work, so I can't figure out my shadows. Well, so first of all, I had a lot of trouble getting the shadows, the transformation matrices from our world space object coordinates to the shadow map for mapping. I had a shitload of trouble with that. So what I did first of all is ES was already fucking 3D, whether you guys believed it or not. I implemented a 3D camera so that I can look at our geometry from the perspective of our objects. So I have a bunch of cubes in world space. Let me switch. This is from the camera's perspective. This is from the light's perspective. This is what the light is seeing in three-dimensional space on the ES map. Okay? So we're projecting a directional light like this. It's mapping to the depth buffer in 2D like this, which we're then using to generate shadows, which, switch back to the camera's transform, these are the shadows generated from that camera space transform. So you can see we can totally simulate day, night, and everything. These are completely fucking accurate, actually. I made goddamn sure there's a bunch of tweaking you have to do for the size of this world space frustrum in proportion to the size of the light space frustrum. Basically, that shit's optimized, and as you can see, the light space actually takes into account the zoom and rotation of the map. So we have good precision even close up and far away. But I plan to be doing this to keep the three-dimensional transform in ES. Obviously, you guys aren't allowed to see it because there is not really 3D geometry.
Yeah.
Well, the geometry is 3D, but we don't have textures on every side, so it look like shit. But it's going to be really useful for debugging in like ESTK.
God. Since we got to redo all the way we do elevation.
Right. So yeah, elevation. This shit is already technically three-dimensional. Let me get to a better level. Dan, I'm about to show off your. So this forest. Anything that has elevation in the scene, which is this shit, like these trees, are technically, they're not flat in the wide direction like the ground is. They have a normal.
Yeah, it's like a pop-up book.
Yeah, it is like ES is three-dimensional in the sense of a pop-up book. So these are actually 3D, and if we can in debug mode walk around the map with a three-dimensional camera like that, we can make sure that we've truly elevated everything properly.
You got that working where you can show me what you were showing me earlier with like the trees and shit?
Oh, actually, I guess I can. It's kind of fucked because I've never looked at the camera in 3D like that, so I've kind of realized that my shit's a little less pristine than I thought when you actually look at it in 3D
Oh, yeah.
than it was in my mind, but I can demonstrate that it's pop-up book 3D.
I don't even want to know what some of the areas look like with the
Right.
way
God,
elevation
it looks
used to
bad.
be done.
It looks
But
bad.
just like with the spotlights, you'll be able to tell pretty
Right.
quickly
All
when
right.
shit's reached.
So, I had the same geometry in this map. Fuck it, I was fucking around. Actually, fuck, I'm including the tops of the trees. Whatever, I'll get to that later. So anyway, same map, it has some elevation, just assume those trees aren't fucking cut off.
Yeah, it's fine.
By my view frustrum. So this is what it... This is what it looks like. There we go. You can see the trees when they're not
Yeah,
fucking
as
occluded.
they begin to come.
So that's pop-up 3D ES.
Jesus.
Alright, so now the tough part is we have sprites and things that are going to need to cast three-dimensional shadows, right? So
Yes.
Julian, but in three-dimensional space, he's a goddamn sprite.
Yep.
So now the challenge is going to be, sure, you can cast a pixel-perfect shadow from the negative Z or positive Z direction, easily. But what happens when you go to the side of Julian, because there's no three-dimensional geometry?
Yeah, he's literally
So
paper thin.
That is the part that I'm getting ready to fake now, and that's my next step.
Smoke and mirrors, but it'll
So,
be beautiful.
Tune the fuck in next time.
So, Falco's about to try my pathfinding algorithm for the first time since...
Heuristics, I keep hearing about.
Yes. So let's see how this goes
Click the
here.
engine here. Okay. He's made himself a goddamn maze. Alright, same thing, X key.
V key, actually. Hit 5 to turn collidables on so you can see when you're colliding. And hit V and then run the fuck around.
Alright, bitch found me.
Yeah.
Oh, she's following me.
Yes, she will follow you to the ends of the earth.
Jesus. That is better than the Secret of Mana. How far away can I get from this bitch?
Anywhere in the maze.
Really?
Yes. Now, see, like it found you before you moved up there, so
Oh, okay.
yeah, it
She's
looks.
still finding me though.
Yeah, it won't check again until she reaches the end of the path. At this
Oh, okay.
point.
Damn, dude. Holy shit. Alright, I'm gonna run the fuck away from this bitch. I'm hiding. Oh shit, she found me. So, how do we make it crash?
Collide into anything when she does the check. Something that's a little bit further away than what she is. See, it kind of freaks her the fuck out a little bit.
Oh, she walked through the wall.
Yeah, it.
Oh, she
doesn't
doesn't like
handle
that.
too well.
She doesn't like that.
Climb to the top.
No, she's still okay. She's coming.
I mean, she
Pretty
writes.
solid, man. That's pretty
She
solid.
writes herself after. Get the fuck off the thing you're colliding with that she doesn't like, but.
Jesus Christ, dude, I'm impressed.
Apparently you're trying to one-up my pathfinding here, and see you've got some sort of shadows going on, but they kind of look like shit.
These are my Indiana Jones shadows, because they're artifacting as fuck.
Jeez.
It's like all HD in like 720p, and then the shadows are like that low res.
Fucking.
It's actually, the shadow map is actually a 1080p texture. It's a perspective matrix, so it's not linearly distributed, and there's less precision at the front of the view frustrum.
Mm-hmm.
I think. I don't know. I'm tired of shit. But yes, that's what it is. So it looks like shit. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to make it not look like shit.
Can you show us the awesome world of 3DES? Is that a thing?
Actually, it's kind of rested at the moment, but yeah, hold on. This is from the camera's perspective. So I like while
Tried to zoom in and reset everything.
yeah, while I'm debugging, I can look at from both perspectives, like the player and the camera. This is the camera, and I can orient the entire map in three-dimensional space and all that shit.
Yeah, I saw some
Thoroughly confused the shit out of myself.
some
But-
bump
but like
mapping
I
and
was
stuff
saying,
going on.
Yeah, this area is bump mapped. Like, if we go back to normal, so you can see, and that works perfectly. Like
Yeah,
these,
yeah.
you can see these walls are affected by.
Yeah, you can see like the grains on the walls and
Yeah,
stuff. Like
they're
details.
bump mapped.
And don't worry about all the little squares. That
Yeah.
will be fixed.
This motherfucker right here is bump mapped too. You can see.
Yeah, the serpent.
Yeah, the Dot 3 bump mapping. Pimp mapping. On it.
Trying
It
not to
looks
get the
really
camera
cool.
all over the place, but it
It
like
looks, yeah, I know. It looks
the
really cool when you walk in.
actual
It's
ES
in
game.
Three-dimensional.
cameras.
Three-dimensional space. It like, yeah. Anyway, yeah, bump mapped as fuck. It looks cool though.
So you also implemented 3D objects in a 3D camera so that you could debug the fucking lights last
I
night.
did. So yeah, we're gonna have like three-dimensional debugging features that no one's gonna have access to, but we already decided because we're narcissistic as shit. Tyler and I decided after you beat Elysian Shadows, there's gonna be like this giant like cave or something, and it's gonna be like, oh, okay, this must be some end game shit. And you go in the cave, and there's gonna be like fucking blood splattered everywhere, and it's gonna be like the creepiest thing you've ever seen. Like, Jesus Christ, maybe this is the real last boss. You get in there, it's gonna be us, the developers, just like sitting in our underwear, like douching our asses and shit, and like we'll just give you a bunch of side quests. Like, alright, I need you to get this girl's number for me. I need you to like get me some beer, stuff like that.
Yes.
And if you complete our side quest, we will give you access to the three-dimensional camera.
Oh, they don't
If
know
you
what's
get
in
us
store
laid.
for them. Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ. What is that? Is
Every
that
time-
your
every time
heuristics?
It is. Every time it checks a node, it colors it both the distance
I'm glad I grabbed the
away,
camera, shit.
and it goes from transparent to darker, darker, darker the more that like it checks those nodes. You can actually watch it.
Are those Gurod quads?
No, actually.
Really?
No.
Oh.
They're single 32 by 32 white squares. So there's like 6,000 polygons on the screen right now.
Jesus.
Yeah. I'm not even fucking exaggerating. If you look at like the fucking table that I have, like all those fucking in it.
Oh, there she is. So what's it doing? It's filling in as she walks? It's getting...
Well, what it's doing, like you can see how some of these squares are darker than others.
Yeah, yeah.
That's because it only checked like that square once.
Yeah.
Some of them are like completely opaque. It checked that square more than once. But you can see like through these like little hallways, it checked every conceivable pathway.
Oh, okay.
Except for, like, right
Okay.
here, it
That's how
didn't.
many times
See?
you've
In the corners,
Oh, I see.
it didn't check at all. So my heuristics, like the
Your
method
heuristics.
right now.
It's our new favorite word. It's Tyler's
I,
heuristics. My occlusion and Tyler's heuristics.
So I needed to do this so that when I start changing the heuristics and doing different types of AI, I wanted to be able to see how those algorithms were working versus like it should work like that. Like, I
Right,
can
right.
Easily see.
Dude, that's
exactly
cool as
every
shit. I didn't know you
single
could
fucking
visualize
tile.
it like that.
Well, I mean, I made it so.
I'm astounded.
It's pretty fucking.
Also, this is at almost what, 2 days without sleep? Basically,
Nobody got time.
I feel like shit zombie mode, but ain't nobody got time for sleep.
Shit's happening, man.
Shit's happening. Alright, so...
No, fuck you.
Oh.
Say now.
Alright, so for the most part, the lighting engine is done. I've been working my dick off, literally, trying to get shadows to work, which
Yeah.
insanely difficult compared to the rest of this. I can't figure out what in fuck's name is wrong with
The
the
fuck happened to
shadows.
that building?
Oh yeah, I completely rested that when I was testing. Testing awesome, but like... Oh, and it crashed. Pardon me, one sec. I didn't push things in the right order. I was moving the light source before I created the light source of my debuggetry.
Well,
So basically, that's legit.
working as intended. It's a feature, not a bug.
That is a feature. Also, it's going to be so fucking slow if I'm really running 2 instances. Alright, cut. Fuck.
Nope. Cinema Verite.
Alright, so it's almost noon the next day. We stayed up all night. We're getting too old for this shit. It's cool though. We'll sleep when we're dead. Alright, so Tyler.
I've spent a good bit of the last night.
It's cool, you're tired, we can't talk.
I know. Reworking all of the current code that I have, making it a bit more efficient, and actually optimizing part of the A-star a little bit. This is a map that
By optimizing, he means douching his ass with it.
This probably looks familiar from one of the other videos.
Clips, yeah, it's his old maze that he was using to...
But I've got this one here. And ain't nobody got time to build an actual maze. So instead, made my own map.txt.
Jeez, that is some Peter Pearl stuff.
And
made his own freaking map format.
And read it all in. To the area.
In Lua, right?
Yep, and right here. And all I did was just
dynamically modify the terrain.
Yep. And I wanted to make sure that my A-star pathfinding was actually fucking pristine. Turns out it is.
It is.
She made it all the way from the...
Bitch found her way through.
From the one side of the maze all the way to the fucking other one.
That is not trivial, dude. That is.
And she's kind of upset right now, so there she goes. She doesn't like it when I walk on solids and she can't come over there. She's a little precious. Watch. Come over here. It does take a second because I've got like a million fucking programs up around my Mac.
Right.
But she found a way over to me. And she won't recalculate the path again until she gets to the end of that one.
The waypoint, yeah.
But I'm planning on building in some AI that pays attention. And like if you do move, I mean obviously it can steer around different obstacles and everything like that. But
right.
This is really more or less like the ultimate fucking test for my algorithm.
Yeah, it really is. Yes, that might actually be a bad thing. This is what's gonna happen when you aggro something, and it's gonna follow your bitch ass all the way to the end of the world.
No. Now I just gotta get it to work in 3D. So.
Jesus Christ.
All right.
Okay.
So here we are, and a test light source. Okay.
Ooh, yeah.
First of all, so like I'm moving the light in three-dimensional space because the shadows are happening in 3D. I'm using the mouse, you can see.
Okay.
All right. This is like moving the light. So like you could see. It kind of like, it looks kind of like day and night is happening, but like shit's not quite correct. Shit's
What?
Don't know.
What the?
Yeah.
Well.
It's a little weird.
There's a couple inaccuracies.
I'm not exactly sure what is happening here.
Like that's. I mean, it looks right for half of it. There.
Yeah, I know. Half of like it kind of looks right. That's why I'm so confused. It's not
Did
like,
you fix the elevation in the stalls? Is that why that shit looks okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was screwing it up with some
But
stuff.
like, what the hell was those lines on the left? Like.
I don't even know. And then there's some like the sun setting like to the west or something. Like,
Jesus.
see, it's kind of like I don't know. There's something wrong with my shadow map buffer. Like I'm rendering to it in 3D. And I think the geometry I'm using to generate that in 3D is not mapping correctly or something. I don't know. Basically, this is what I've been staring at for like 3 days. And it's
Trying to figure out what the fuck.
At this point, it's all math. Like, it's not even coding that's wrong. It's, well, of course, the math in the fucking code.
Oh, well, yeah, of course.
It's that linear algebra shit, so, like, I'm just doing math.
So basically what you're saying is you need to get the fuck back to work.
That is what I'm saying. That is exactly what I'm saying.
Go get some more coffee, Jesus.
And we're back at my place, another weekend at the grind. We left all the shit here from last weekend just because it makes us look like mad scientists and we're narcissistic like that. Tyler's working on
Pathfinding.
the heuristics.
Trying to make it a lot more efficient for the world there.
Actually I got a lot of shit done this week that I need to show off. I posted like a little cock tease. Oh my god, I specifically wanted to finish the shadow stuff I was working on so I could post a cock tease on our Facebook page, because up until now you guys haven't seen any of the lighting engines. Like that's kind of what pushed me to do it. And fan response seems to be pretty good. We got like 53, 4, 5, 6, 56 likes, so that's good. That's what I wanted to see. Also, I got this book in the mail. I spent $100 on this goddamn book, Real-Time Collision Detection. But it's supposed to literally be the Bible for this kind of stuff. It's written by the guy who
did the collision and a lot of the engine for the God of War 1 and 2 games, which basically raped the PlayStation 2. So I dare say they know what they're talking about.
I dare say they know.
But
Not
anyway.
many people know that actually God of War is what inspired us for our original adventures in game development. So I like how this has kind of come.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, the unlockable commentary in God of War 1. That's what inspired the very first adventure in game development.
So we meet again.
We do.
Yep. You got something else for us here?
So, literally, it nearly destroyed me to figure this out. But those shadows that I was working on last weekend. So the directional lights are easy as shit.
Let's see what we got here.
Let's see. Directional lights on. Those shadows had always been working, blah, blah, blah. It's like there's an omniscient, omnipresent light source down here, like a sun or something, for outdoors, just casting shadows up. That always worked and all that. What was a bitch and what did not... Fuck your phone.
Right.
What did not work was the spotlight shadows, but they now work. So you can see the shadows are casting perspective shadows. And you can see they scale and go in. And more importantly, you can see that I have multi-layered shadows, multiple shadow-producing light sources simultaneously. So that was kind of a big deal for me, kind of a big day.
That's kind of only fucking amazing.
I was a little proud of myself for that. Of course, there's no collision or anything in here. And it's not really raping everything too. It's not super optimized right now.
It'll get better once we fix all the individual tile issues too.
Right. That's Patrick's job.
Yeah, no, it's...
So yeah, there's and this has the bump mapping, normal mapping in it too, but so the only thing left for the dynamic shadows is now I need to do point light sources, which is radiating light in every direction, and that's going to particularly be a bitch as well because it's not going in one direction for me to map the shadow map to and use the depth buffer. I have to use a 3-dimensional cube texture to map the rays in every direction on the depth buffer and then use that. So that's next. It might rape everything to do that, but you know.
So
that's what we do.
Get the fuck to work.
I'm on it. So Tyler and I had a brilliant idea for a boss on ES. Yes. First of all, what we're gonna do is we're gonna have like this ultimate epic ass boss. Maybe he's Dreamcast only, but like you can't fight this guy until you're at a certain level.
You don't stand a chance. He will just destroy.
He'll rape your ass. So like, if you go to him and you get raped, what this asshole will do is he'll take every other save file on your VMU that's not Elysian Shadows, and we're gonna corrupt them subtly, so that you log out of ES or whatever, none of your save files will load correctly.
Everything.
Shenmue, Samba de Amigo, Phantasy Star Online, Sonic Adventure, they're all fucked. Until you go back and beat this boss, then we'll uncorrupt your save files for you, and you redeem yourself.
But you have to earn it.
That's what we're gonna do. We also thought of we're allocating so much memory in the Lua interpreter right now. So like, oh, Lua's automatically garbage collected. What I did is I wrapped the Lua garbage collector back to Lua, which is from the C API. So now Tyler can clean up his own garbage. What we're gonna do?
Just hit a button and wait.
Yeah, on the Dreamcast, if like, oh man, it's running like shit. It must be Lua. Push the R trigger and it invokes the Lua garbage collector.
I mean, that gives people control over their shitty systems, like the ones that are like really old. And
So yeah, we don't have to optimize for the Dreamcast. We're just fucking around, but that'd be hilarious. Are we just fucking around?
Save file.
I don't know. Yeah, we might not be fucking around about the save file. What do you think, Andrew?
I'll just sneak that script in there anyway.
You might want to take out all your other VMUs if you play ES. Andrew.
Yeah, I think
Back
I'm
'em
just
up.
gonna go buy like a random
Peter would
VMU
be
and
so
then
mad.
just play ES with it.
Dude,
That
Peter would kill himself.
It's time to wake your bitch ass up and smell the dextroamphetamines, Watson.
Is it brewing?
Do what?
Is it brewing?
The amphetamines? What time do we go to bed?
Define go to bed.
I don't even remember, dude.
You mean run out of dopamine and can't sleep or concentrate because of the storm?
There was a storm last night?
Dude, there was like fucking tornado warnings and flood warnings.
Shit, dude, I slept through it.
Like your power flickered, I'm like,
Are you serious,
I need to
dude?
go to bed.
I didn't know any of that shit happened. Alright, time to get to work.
So we just woke up, went to Publix to get some supplies for the day, and turns out The coons have struck. I mean,
This is why you can't have nice things if you try to develop games in Alabama. A pack of ravenous raccoons have ravaged my trash can.
you can tell by all the greedy little paw marks that
What?
ripped open all the bags.
Dinner's gonna be on the house tonight. Gonna blow their little bitch asses to hell.
Jesus Christ.
'Cause we're rednecks like that.
I don't think I can handle like this level of dysfunction. Oh my God.
What's up? I'm Andrew Gergis, and this is what I've been doing with my life. What do you think?
Life? I think it's awesome. It's Dreamcast.
Wait,
So what's the best console, Andrew?
Dreamcast
That's right.
and Sonic the Hedgehog.
I got him a Dreamcast for Christmas, and it eats discs.
Yeah,
I'm
it's a
kinda
cannibal. It's a
pissed. I
cannibal.
know. It's bullshit.
Sucks. Well,
Say goodbye, you two.
goodbye. Bye.
Tell him to get back to work.
Get back to work, you two.
So I just wanted to tell all the fans what we just discussed. Tyler has like so much mathematical crap going on in his heuristics, calculating Euclidean distances and cross products and stuff, that basically what I'm going to do is I have an entire math library abstraction I'm using in LibGyro right now for calculating lighting in the matrix stack that I implemented, that basically abstracts away SIMD vector instructions for the Dreamcast and PC. So we're using the SSE instructions, so we can do like matrix and vector multiplications in like 2 instructions instead of like 20. So I'm going to be wrapping these assembly functions to Lua for you.
That'll be exciting.
We're going to have assembly optimized Lua pathfinding.
That is gonna be fucking fantastic.
Yeah, it will. It's going to be fucking awesome. Andrew,
Help us.
what do you think about all that?
Pristine.
It's not rested?
De-reasted.
Nice. You going to play ES?
Yes.
What do you think of ES? Tell the fans.
It's badass.
That is absolutely right.
I approve.
Good. So as part of Andrew's classical gaming training, are you using my book?
Yeah, I'm using
He's
it.
playing Mario Paint, the original mouse.
Breathe.
In high def, upscaled to 1080p with my upscaler and on surround sound. How everyone should play their Super Nintendo. And with an extension cord so we can sit a mile away.
Yeah.
I expect for your homework beautiful pictures to be drawn, Andrew.
I'm not even trying with this one. I'm just learning.
Dude, you should play the Fly Swatter game.
Oh God, I remember the fly swatter.
So,
Alright, yeah, Tyler's giving us the morning debriefing. So, alright, explain. We have A-star, which is pristine for like mazes and things like that, but it's computationally intensive.
it'll always find the path.
High time. What the fuck is the time complexity of that bitch?
It'll always find the path, but it may not be the most efficient. But it'll get you to point A to point B.
Right.
But it considers almost every possible combination. The Rainbow Road stuff you saw earlier.
Heuristics.
What that was for every tile that was considered, it loaded a transparent rect.
Right.
Every time it hit it, it made it more and more opaque. So
Right.
you could see kind of where that was going, and the actual coloration was distant between point A and point B. So you could see how it changed over time throughout the maze.
Right. So
And it pretty much filled up every bit of that maze throughout the whole thing to get there.
right. So what you're proposing is to use a different algorithm for wide open areas that's less computationally intensive. What's this new
Breaking
algorithm?
up the computation to where there's no huge, like, I need to get to point A and point B. You compute the entire fucking path because we want to be able to dynamically modify the map. We want to be able to
Yeah,
say,
that's a big thing. Is we want the map is
Put
not
obstacles.
completely static. So Lua right now can dynamically modify the map.
Yes, and that's
The
actually
path
why,
that
that's why I
has
created
to
the maze.
not exactly. Math has or the pathfinding has to be able to handle that. Is
And
one of the problems.
Right now, I mean, it takes about 4 seconds for it to do that. Granted, like I said, it's not the most efficient, and that maze is completely fucking ridiculous.
Right.
I made sure that it was as recursive and crazy as I
Right.
could be because I wanted to test out.
And another thing is this computational intensity needs to be like for the Dreamcast. It needs to be as pristine as we can get.
Well, I mean, I need to be fucking pristine because I'm gonna have like 40 of these dudes chasing your ass down, and they need to get this shit like fucking cash pass.
And they need to be able to do it on the
Dream.
Dreamcast, right?
So, I mean, it needs to be efficient as fuck.
All right, what's the second algorithm called that
jump point search.
Jump point search, which is better for wide open areas.
Yes.
All right, now explain. All right, so in order to do this, you want to partition the map at
Decompose or digest the map down into larger open area navigable.
where we know we can default to this algorithm as opposed to A star. Quite pristine, Watts.
And doing it that way too would allow us to, like, from point A to point B, you got to pass through like 3 of those waypoints, or 3 of those wrecks. So, and computing the whole thing ahead of time, because we could dynamically modify the map. We could toss a barrel in front of a doorway, obstacles. I mean, even the state of the NPC that's chasing your ass could change,
Right,
which
right.
would cause you to have to recompute the entire fucking thing.
Right.
So you would only be doing like the path you're going to and +1 to kind of stay ahead just a little bit.
Right.
Because you don't know how big those wrecks are going to be. You need to be able to stay ahead.
Right.
But that's all the further they would be going at any given point.
Right. So he's proposing some additional metadata for the map, which is pre-processed, so we know what the wide open areas are for the jump point algorithm. Yeah.
JPS.
Which is cool. So we're offloading some of the computation to the toolkit.
Okay.
All right. So I got something to show Tyler, and I wanted him to see it on camera. So
All right.
I've devised a way to spy on you in your scripting. So like, this is like Loren, blah blah blah. You have all this like shit going on that I don't even know. I guess you have like behaviors attached to all these audacious bugs.
3 of them.
So like, for the sake of debuggetry and like especially like checking memory usage and like seeing what the fuck's up and like we can add it to like the core dumps and shit, I've made it. Well, for now it's just wrapped debug. If I push Z, it shits out a Lua state dump of all of the scripts in use. So check this out. I can say, in total there are 5 scripts sitting in memory. Right now you're only using 0.4 megabytes memory, which actually I'm shocked. That's not much at all. It's like we'll be able to see that all of your Lua shit, that's how much memory it's using, like it'll rape the Dreamcast or not.
Don't hit V whenever you do that.
Do what?
Don't ever hit V before you do that.
Jesus. Then it's showing you like player character .lua, you're only referencing it 1. So there's 5 scripts loaded, it shits out every script. Jesus. How many instances of it? So like these are only referenced once, like there's only 1 copy of each of those instantiated. Is that correct, or did I reset that?
No, that's completely fucking correct.
Okay, so then it shows whether that state currently has an error or not, like if it's rested right now. And then it shows like whether it's a behavior or just a normal script. It's like these are behaviors, whatever, and it shows like the inheritance tree, parent none. See, it's not parented. This you use behavior inheritance, so it shows that the parent is the audacious merchant. And then it shits out all of the triggers that you've implemented at that level.
Jesus.
So you can like, if you're like, this script isn't fucking working right, this behavior is not being called, whatever the fuck, you can shit out like basically the statistics of the interpreter.
Jesus.
Also, I wrapped you the garbage collectors. So you can clean up
Wait,
your
what button is that shit?
right now it's just Z. I'll make it like a better button and we can keep this shit in there. But
Yeah, we're definitely have to have 2 different
useful?
fucking. It abso-fucking-lutely, actually. Jesus.
I hear some fucking Legend of Zelda shit going on over here. I'm getting ready for bed, brushing my teeth, and I'm like, what the hell is that?
Well, for the record, I guess this is the item wheel.
we modeled that after Secret of Mana's item wheel.
Equip it. You see it shows the indicator and it instantly
Very
shows
sexy.
where.
This is not necessarily how we're gonna do inventory endgame
No,
right
it's
now.
just-
It's kind of for prototyping, it's convenient, and it's pretty sexy too.
And I actually have it set up so it shows like based on your direction, like it
We
actually
do
shows-
want to show, yeah, like Secret of Mana, the weapons on the character.
and you draw it
Jesus.
and then
The fuck is going on over here?
well
You're
yeah,
you're
it's
raping OpenAI. Oh, that's cool.
it's not deleting, it's trying to add another one because when I try to delete it, it also throws an error.
Oh, okay.
So it really it only ever played the one that it actually does load
Right.
for that channel.
That's cool
But
as
hey, you
shit,
know,
dude. Yeah.
It works.
Unsheath it. Oh, well.
Purposely crashed it.
You might want to report that shit to Apple, dude.
You know, I have, and I think they fixed a couple of bugs.
You know how many times like the engine crashes, it's like, report to Apple, we're like, yeah, sure.
Might as well. I mean, fuck.
They're like, some asshole ruined the Lewis script.
You were so busy doing the lighting shit, like the chances of you fixing that before Apple was at that point, like.
That's true. That's true. But I don't know. I don't think Apple could do anything with
I'd
our
like to
code.
see,
They'd
like,
probably
the
fuck
guy
it
that
up
gets
even
that
worse.
report is just like, the fuck? What the? It's like their own like OpenGL drivers, their own sound card drivers, like something called Elysian. Fucking what the fuck? I don't know. They just closed the G drive.
Yeah.
All right. So, with as many audacious motherfuckers as we have on the ES team who love to crash the engine, who
Quite a
love to
few.
crash the toolkit, who fuck up their Lua scripts and all that, debuggetry is very important to us. For one, a lot of engines, like when you're debugging Lua scripts and stuff, it is just an absolute pain in the asshole to debug Lua because you basically get like a printf or something that is just a specific Lua error or something like that.
Yep.
So we have spent a considerable amount of time making the entire scripting debugging experience with our Lua engine, Elysian Shadows, absolutely fucking pristine.
Like, you can literally tell what the hell is wrong without looking up code most of the time,
Once
but apparently
shit
you've improved upon it.
compiles. Compiling. Cut. We'll just be like,
All right, well.
after compiling.
Compiling, montage.
Montage. This is montage. I wanna be the very best.
By the way, this book is absolutely fucking incredible.
It is. I didn't even fucking. What did I change? Like, why the fuck are you recompiling your entire dick off?
You know, but the camera totally like
Fucks, cunt.
unfocused your
What is
fucking
it
face
building?
at one
It's
point.
like the entire toolkit for some reason. Probably pushed like space in tile.hpp, which is included fucking everywhere. And now it's rebuilding everything. Okay. Alright, so back to business. Okay. So as I was saying earlier, we have like some Loren shit, like Tyler's working on a bunch of Lewis shit, blah blah blah. Now I'm gonna show a couple of things. Tyler's scripts going on. Let me read one of Tyler's scripts. I know for a fact that if you step into this barrel, we have like some debug warp. It's going to take you somewhere. It's going to completely fuck everything up. So one of the scripts failed, which by the way, if one script fails, the engine recovers and all the other scripts still work.
Yes, yes.
So we have now debug output from that script and all that shit, which I will show you momentarily. So that was a Lua exception. Now let me also make the engine crash by walking off of the fucking map and going, oh god.
Gotcha, bitch. There's a warp.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm not supposed to be showing all this shit.
Whee!
And you bound everything, didn't you? So
Yes. You have to go back to the door. You asked me to load some scripts.
Jesus, nice. Alright, tell me this.
Hit V.
So anyway.
Now just wait.
Walk. I need to get the engine to crash, though. How about you actually bound the collision right this time? Okay. So Ray out of bounds. First of all, before you bitch that, I'm not checking every single fucking map access for Ray out of bounds. It's the level of designer's job to bind the map. I ain't wasting that many clock cycles. But I digress.
Last that I was aware of, somebody fucked with the level.
So, now let's look at some shit. First of all, we rested an entire Lewis script, and then we rested in C++ the engine itself. So there are two files that ES Gamma, which is the engine, shits out. We have Gamma Debug, which is the engine itself, and we have Lua Debug. Let's look at Lua Debug. This is where all prints from Lua wind up. And this is also where the, what I call the core dump winds up.
Yes.
So, whatever, initializing global, init, whatever. And then there was a Lua error, Lua error, attempt to local, or index local self and nil value. First it gives you the error, then it gives you the stack traceback, then it gives you a stack dump of the runtime stack recursively traversing any tables in the runtime stack so you can see the state of basically every fucking thing. Let me scroll down a bit because that's a lot of data. This is a runtime dump of the Lua C stack for communication between Lua and C. This is a dump of the environment meta table for the current Lua script. This is the dump that I showed you earlier for the everything that's loaded in the current Lua manager. And this is a dump of behavior local variables. And then you can see that the other scripts continue to work until they fucked up too, on purpose. So you can see literally, like, you can't get more Lua debuggetry than that. You can do anything in Lua. So on top of that, I ain't fucking done. I said there were two files generated. The other one is Gamma Debug, which is engine specific as opposed to scripting specific. So now, let's say you do something in Lua where, like,
you access the map out of bounds.
Yeah.
Or something like that. It's not technically crashing within a Lua script. That's not a Lua exception. The code was valid in Lua. It's when it's calling back to the engine and doing something there that it's crashing.
Well, it was like before trying to find an entity that didn't actually exist.
So we actually, okay, there's the Lua stack dump and shit. This has all of Lua and the engine. So at the very bottom, you will see, somewhere, God, right here, we actually have a stack trace of the engine C code. So you can see that when I walked off the map, it crashed when it's trying to detect the, do fine collision detection between the entity, aka the player, and the map. So you can see literally C where it shit itself, and every single bit of like the Lua interpreter core.
I should totally go turn on like
So
all of my printf statements for all my debuggetry shit, and then it'll get back to like 250,000 lines of debug files.
No, but like when like Connor or Patrick or one of them crash, just give me that one file.
Yes.
We got everything.
Yes.
That's the goal is.
I don't know. I know it's my fault probably anyway, but it's fine. They caused it.
Pristine. And that's it.
What's up, everybody? My name is Connor Linning. I am doing the soundtrack for Elysian Shadows. I grew up playing heavy metal, and then eventually moved over to more electronic and industrial stuff like survival horror. And now with Elysian Shadows, we're doing an RPG soundtrack. So, new territory for me, new stuff to work on. And the second song I worked on is the Loren town theme, and I'm going to show you how I made it. So I opened up this VST called Peach, which is weird because it's pink, and I just started playing random notes, you know. And eventually I found a melody that sounds like this. And so the soundtrack's going to be a mix of kind of the old school 8-bit synthesizer stuff, but also more modern stuff. So I ended up adding orchestra, which I think is this one. Nope. Is this one? Yes. And with orchestra, it sounds like this. And this song was kind of inspired by the Chrono Trigger Millennial Fair deal, and so I eventually wanted to start adding orchestral drums, so like marching snares and whatnot, and that part is this. And if you add all of it together, it sounds like this. And that's it. It loops over and over again, and that's the introduction to my soundtrack. Yeah. So here I have my turntable sampling set up. Scratch Live, Chord Chaos Pad, and Newmark. And basically what it does, or what I use it for, is if I take a sample of me playing guitar, or what I have right now is a heavy metal scream, because I used to play in heavy metal bands, so it sounds like this. I could take a sample and run it through here, which adds effects. So if I want to put delay or reverb or whatever live on the fly, I have this to do effects on. And basically what it means is that I can take anything I record for the ES soundtrack and I can play it slower. So if I play this scream but I play it slower, I can fiddle with it, I can make it slower, I can make it faster, I can pretty much do anything with anything. So, which is pretty sweet. So it means that I can make a lot of sounds and a lot of effects that you wouldn't normally hear with just a keyboard or just conventional soundtrack equipment.
So, trying to get some work done over here, and all I hear is this ridiculous fucking beeping. And it just goes left and right, left and right.
I have
no clue what's happening.
astounding progress. So, for the audio engine, we're using OpenAL, and even though ES is a 2D game, we are doing it with 3-dimensional audio surround sound. So, this audacious gay pride Jigglypuff right here is an entity with an audio source component attached to it, playing a wave looping. So since it's an entity with that audio source component attached, it's a positional sound. And the audio listener in 3-dimensional space is attached to you.
Yes.
Because you're listening to it. So, the effect is that we have full 3-dimensional sound. So walk to the right, goes to the right speaker. Here. Walk to the left, goes to the left speaker. So it's full 3D in a 2D game. But, you're like, oh, that's not 3D, that's 2D. Actually, you'd be full of shit. So if you'll remember, in ES, we have different levels of elevation, which is essentially the Z-axis, your position in Z. So it is technically 3D.
16 levels.
So since we did that, we did our depth like that, and with true depth, we can also do 3-dimensional sound in the Z direction as well. So just for debug purposes, I have Y mapped to increase your elevation to move you up in the Z-axis. So listen to the sound as I'm moving up now in 3D space. That dude is below me.
Yep.
As I go up, and then it'll loop back, and then I'll be back on his. So 15 is the highest. I'm back on his plane. So if you're going on a bridge, for example, and there's some like little cock bezoar below you, like growling at you or whatever, it will sound like it's below you and to the left of you, and then to the right of you and below you. So it is true 3-dimensional sound in a 2D game.
Cheers.
So I'm quite pleased with that.
Absolutely.
Alright, I'm going to explain a little bit of how the audio engine works. The audio engine was thought up by me and made by Falco. And basically how it works is like, if you're in an area, you're walking around, you only want the basic part of the music to be playing. So say we're right here, and you'll have like bass, maybe a synthesizer playing, and you're just walking around enjoying the area, but then you see an enemy. And so dynamically, it fades out and fades into the same track at the same spot, at the same tempo, same everything. But now there's guitar, or there's drums or something. And so even if you don't necessarily see the enemy, you know that something has happened dynamically. So basically it's like instead of Chrono Trigger, where you're walking around and then when a battle starts, the music just stops and the battle theme starts. What happens is it fades into more instruments, so you can feel that there's more going on. And then when the battle actually starts, it fades into the full track up here. And then, you're battling, blah, blah, and then once the battle's over, it fades back down to the original track. So basically, we've circumvented what like old systems had to do, and we've made it more dynamic. And I can't really think of too many games that have ever done this. But this isn't all that we're doing for the audio engine. We have all kinds of stuff. We're able to have other tracks over top, like rain and thunder, playing the entire time, wind, a couple things on lighting that I'm still thinking about that we might do. There's all kinds of stuff that we're going to do, and basically, I've always felt that audio in video games has been underappreciated in a sense, or not enough time was spent trying to do something innovative or trying to make it as good as possible. So what we're doing is we're spending a lot of time brainstorming, a lot of time figuring out how we can make it so it's not just visual, it's not just interactive, but also the audio is just an important part. And it would be a shame to spend all this time working on the soundtrack if we didn't have something really cool to show for it, just besides just a couple beats. So it's going to be pretty sweet.
You've been squatting in this corner for quite some time. You getting everything all figured out over there?
Dude, I just developed the entire fucking AUG stream engine on my wall. Well, the majority of it might not work, but
Super secrets here.
But this is what I'm gonna try to do. So I need to like take a picture of my wall, so like we don't.
Yes. Jesus. Andrew will
Well,
come
like
over
this is the API. Basically, I'm trying to map out like we only have so many threads to like do these aux streams, and like when I transition threads and shit, or when I transition tracks, like how many streams do we need simultaneously, as opposed to how many different tracks can we load and shit like that. Like I'm trying to delegate it.
Well, fuck.
So right now, the way that our decadent rock star wants it, he wants it so that he wants a background music track, an auxiliary track, and an auxiliary 2 track. But he wants all 3 of those to be able to dynamically fade into other tracks. And he wants them, so for that dynamic fade, there's a period of time where they're both playing together. So that means we have 3 tracks, but then those also have to have a second fade track for where you're transitioning into something else. We actually have to have 6 simultaneous threads decoding augs, worst case ever, simultaneously for like a couple seconds, assuming all 3 tracks are doing the dynamic transition. It's like I'm trying to do like the resource allocation and shit, but it's going swimmingly.
So for the caves, this was like my audition kind of for being the ES soundtrack composer. Since it's a cave, instantly I thought of like big reverb and booming sounds and delays and stuff, so I took a tom and just added a bunch of delay and reverb to it, which sounds like this. And once I put that in, I had to come up with a melody, which was this, which is a mix of 8-bit and other more modern synthesizers. And then for the battle part, if you run into an enemy, it has real drums, and it has distorted synthesizers, which is supposed to sound like a guitar. And for the final release, I might actually put guitars instead of the synthesizer. It depends on which sounds better, of course. Which sounds like this. And yeah, it was pretty much just getting the toms at the start. It pretty much just set up the entire song. I didn't really have to try hard after getting that basis.
So is your audio demo ready?
I'm a fucking genius.
Well, Jesus.
Alright, at 12:30 I have completed the demo. The demonstration. Alright, I've got a little something. So Connor gave me like a bunch of his tracks and shit, so let me go to your magical warp barrel. Go to the caves. Alright, so I'm just digging around in the caves right now. So I have loaded 3 background tracks right now that Connor made. They're all the same track with like the first one's kind of softer, the second one adds an instrument, third one adds an instrument, so that it's like they're picking up. And we wanted to make it to where maybe when there's no enemies around, it's playing like the smooth track, and then like you aggro an enemy, it plays like it picks up, and then you actually start doing combat with an enemy, and like it's playing the fast track. So we wanted dynamic tracks in the game. So without raping the Dreamcast. So
oh god.
Alright, let me fucking fade into, let me begin one of the tracks. Alright, so this is the basic track, like, okay, you're walking around like there's no one around and shit. So, the first kind of fade transition that I'm doing, there's going to be 2 different kinds of fades. One of them is just going to be fade out, then into another track, which I'm able to do with one underlying track. So on consoles like the Dreamcast and the iPhone where I can't decode 2 aux streams simultaneously, I'm going to use that. It's cheaper. Yeah. And then the second one will be dynamically morphing into it, where while one track is cutting out, the other one is actually fading in.
You do have a little bit of overlapping instead of just the fade.
So there is an overlap, so you have to have 2 threads decoding 2 aux simultaneously for that. So I'm going to make it where that will just resolve to the cheap fade out on the shittier platforms, and the Lua scripter doesn't have to know about that shit.
Good.
Anyway, TLDR. So right now I'm just demonstrating the cheap ass one because the more expensive one's going to be a lot harder to implement. So, okay, bass ambience, like, okay, you like aggro someone. Fades out, you're on the Dreamcast. Fades in, it's another instrument. You're like, oh shit, like,
Yeah, just more
stuff's
detail.
picking up. Shit's getting serious, okay? So now, the third track, let me, what the fuck button did I map that to? Sorry. J. Third track, this is where like, oh shit, you're fighting some shit. Like shit picked up now, like damn. Alright, so all of these are in RAM at once, and we're just swapping between streams. So in addition to that, let me go back to the quiet one. Like I said for, let's see, go back to H. For some of the more powerful platforms, Connor wanted auxiliary tracks, like even more fucking AUGs being decoded, and at first I was like, no, fuck that, you're fucking crazy.
Yes.
But I decided, okay, that'll be fine for like auxiliary stuff that won't be on every platform, but it will add a lot to the game, a lot of immersion. So, without further ado, let me fade in the auxiliary track. Did I push the wrong button? I did.
It's been a long night.
It's been a long night. Alright. Bless the rains down in Africa. Alright, so now the rain is faded in. Can you hear the rain?
Oh yeah.
Alright.
I mean, I can hear. I don't know if it's
So in addition to that, we have some more dynamic things. So we can also support 2 auxiliary tracks. That's 1 of 2, depending on what the platforms will let us do. And in addition to that, we're able to dynamically do things like modify the pitch and stuff. So this is super brooding mode. I'm lowering the pitch on both.
Oh, yeah.
Basically, it sounds like someone died now. I kind of like it, actually.
It's like some Lavender Town
Yeah.
shit, man.
Yeah, I know, it does sound like Lavender Town. But anyway, so that's the basis for the AUG streaming engine.
The spoilers on the screen.
Now, the problem is for the morphing, I have that mostly done, but the problem is the way that most people do that is complete bullshit. Like, I've been looking into it. They have 2 AUG streams that are playing simultaneously. So in our case, you'd have to play all 3 simultaneously to make sure that they are absolutely exactly synced up. And then 2 of them are just completely muted, but they're still playing. You're still decoding the AUG.
Still taking the resources.
And yeah, in a fucking thread. That is absolutely reached. People are like, oh, that's the way you have to do it. Bullshit. I don't believe that shit. So anyway, at first I was like, alright, so maybe I'll, I tried to sync the AUGs together. Just like seeking to the one place in the AUG that the other one was in. That was close, but that was me being a little arrogant. Apparently that's reached as well. Because even if you sync the AUG to the same point, the buffer that you've submitted to your audio hardware for the current sample that's happening, being run by your audio driver, you don't know how far into it that is. So you're only syncing to the last read on the last buffer that was not submitted to the sound card. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to pull how far into your audio drivers you've decoded that bit stream to figure that out and sync them to the actual correct time, not just based on the stream, if that makes any sense.
So what you're saying is the reason why people were doing that because it's not goddamn easy.
Yeah, because it's not goddamn easy, but it's doable. Probably not doable at like 1 in the morning, but I think...
challenge accepted.
Challenge accepted. Alright, YouTube, so here's the predicament. Everyone keeps asking for an education on like the lighting engine, Tyler's A-star algorithms and things like that. First of all, there's no way we could teach you that in 1 episode. Second of all, ain't nobody got time for that. So I'm just drunk enough that I want to teach you something that's actually useful that you can take in like the little bit of time. So we're going to dive into some assembly here.
Cheers.
So, first of all, this is very important for those of you trendy kiddies who are getting into like OpenGL ES on like the iPhone and shit. So we've been developing a lighting engine for ES, so we've had to switch from the fixed function pipeline in OpenGL to the programmable pipeline. as part of that, we've had to write shaders for various things, and I learned something very important about writing vertex shaders for a 2D game. So I'm trying to do a bunch of lighting shit, so it needs to be quite optimal. So this is a very typical setup for even a 3D, any kind of basic vertex shader for GLSL. The render code, or let me talk about the shader first. This is the GLES shader. You have two uniforms that you're passing your shader, your projection matrix, your model view matrix, standard shit, and then you're passing it as a vertex array, whatever, VBO, doesn't matter. Your local vertices, you're outputting your clip vertices to your fragment shader, and then in your main, you're calculating your clip vertices as you're multiplying your projection matrix by your model view times your local vert to bring them from local to clip space. Makes sense. Now, there's a really fucking shitty basic pseudo render in C++. So sprite render, first thing you're going to do is you're going to submit your uniform for the model view matrix, which will basically put it into world space times the camera, whatever. So it'll be in view space. And then you're going to submit or set your vertex pointer if you're using vertex arrays, and you're basically going to render. And you're going to submit your local verts, your fragment shader's going to do the multiplication, all that shit. Now, something that you have to understand in 2D is that this actually sucks ass. The reason being is in 2D, you have maybe only 4 vertices per sprite if you're rendering a sprite as two triangle strips combined. So the problem is that you are submitting this model view matrix for every goddamn sprite on screen, so it's uploading a uniform, a 4x4, 16 floats for every one of those, just to multiply by 4 vertices. Inefficient as shit. It makes more sense in a 3D game where there's a much more there's a smaller ratio of vertices to uniform data, to where you're doing more math per vertex every time you submit a transform like that. So a much, much, much better approach than this, what I found is way faster than this, is to fuck the model matrix. Oh, I need more beer. Fuck the model matrix in the C++ code. That's what's taking you to world vertices. That's the only reason that you're having to resubmit this uniform every time you want to render a sprite. So, fuck that. So what you're going to do now is you're going to have a projection matrix and a view matrix. And instead of submitting things in local coordinates, you're going to submit them in world coordinates. And by doing that, you're going to be transforming from local to world space on the CPU. Which is not necessarily fast, because that's what the GPU is for, but that's where the SIMD SSE assembly instructions come in. If you can do this here where you have your vertices, I don't know, vector 3 local verts 4 equals whatever, you set them up to your unit square whatever that you're about to submit. So then you have vector 3 world verts 4. If you're able to say transform world verts local verts and then we'll say your model matrix. If you're able to do this transformation and essentially implement this using the streaming SIMD instructions on a PC x86, there's even libraries to help you do that, or they're actually very simple assembly instructions. The iPhone has SIMD units that let you do that. Basically all they're doing, a SIMD unit is something that will operate on basically operates on multiple pieces of data in parallel in a single instruction. So whereas this is going to take a shitload of instructions to transform using the CPU because it goes sequentially, the streaming SIMD extensions let you multiply something like an entire vector times an entire vector in one operation. So you're drastically cutting down the computation time there. So if you do that on the CPU, you're using the SIMD instructions on the iPhone, x86, whatever. We actually have it on the Dreamcast too. And then you're not submitting the uniform every time. You're transforming them and submitting to your shader already in world coordinates. You're saving quite a bit of
transfer time on the PCIe bus, and it is actually much faster. We benchmarked. And it lends itself extremely well to any architecture with SIMD units. So, there's
There
that.
she is.
I'm kind of drunk. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, good. We're good.
Cheers.
So that's it for me. Go to www.connorlinning.com. That's ConnorLinning.com. You could Google it to find my YouTube and my Facebook and all that, Twitter and all that stuff. Follow me, check it out. All my music is for free, so you can just go on my website and download it. It's also Creative Commons, so if you follow the license, you can use it in your own work as long as you follow the correct rules. And hope you like it. Let me know what you think. And really excited to be part of the ES team. We're having a lot of fun. I was a fan of these videos that I am now in right now, which is weird. I've been a fan for a while, so it's not just they found a musician that you know, can make a soundtrack, whatever, that everybody else can do. It's somebody who actually cares about the game and somebody who's actually interested, has been following the project, and wants to do something exciting with it, not just bare minimum audio or anything like that. So yeah, see ya.